G'day guys, it's Mark here from a very warm North Oz, and in today's video we're going to be talking about my new fridge. I ended up getting a MyCoolman fridge, and I'm going to see how it is. You know, it's a dual zone fridge, and this is kind of like going to be an initial thoughts and why as well, which I think is a very important thing about why I would choose to upgrade from my Brassmonkey fridge that I had to this one here. And maybe some of you guys are in the same boat thinking, got maybe a little bit of a budget fridge and, looking to upgrade and, is this a good option? So we'll talk about why I ended up purchasing this one and yeah, hopefully the information in here will be of use to you. Before we start, guys, just click that subscribe button, helps me out. Let's get into today's video. In a video about 4 or 5 months ago, I ended up saying that the Brassmonkey fridge is the only fridge you're ever going to need. It's fantastic. You know what? I wasn't wrong. It's a great fridge. It's still working. I still have it in the carport here. No issues with it at all. And I've just made a video actually on it as well, so that'll already be out. So I'm just thinking like, why would I need to upgrade my fridge? And what I guess prompted me to want to go out and start looking. The main reason was I'm just running out of space. I've noticed that on the 3-day trips I've been doing, I've just been finding I just don't have enough room in there. Things are getting stacked on top of one another. It's pushing against the side. It was getting frozen, and the fridge was drawing a lot of power. So one thing when I started doing my research for a new fridge was looking at a fridge that's going to be efficient and also that's going to, and when I say efficient, I mean it's not going to draw a lot of power, but also in the very hot conditions we have here in Cairns, is it going to be excessively drawing power? Meaning that it's the insulation and the insulating properties of the fridge is going to be good enough to keep all that heat out so it's not having to constantly cycle that compressor. So for me, that was one of the main things. I looked at all the major companies, and for me, in terms of price and function, and also and durability, and all the facts that I could look at and all the reviews I read, MyCoolman had glowing reviews. I think one of the main things I'm a little bit concerned about is, from my research anyway, MyCoolman really has only been on the Australian market since 2018. 3 full years of research is probably, and feedback is probably not a lot. It's probably something that is, it's a little bit concerning considering when I talk to people who've been doing camping a lot longer than me, when they talk about angle, they've got their angle fridges from 20, 30 years ago, and their Wacos they've had for just as long, so I'm a little bit concerned buying the MyCoolman. No one has that story of, I've had my MyCoolman for, 20 or 30 years. So that's a little bit of a worry for me. So so that's one of the concerns that I have. But from reading the reviews and looking at the unit now and spending some time with it, I think it's going to be a really good unit. It's really well made. It's got a lot of plastic on it, which I was a little bit surprised about. But now that I look at it, it's actually not a bad thing. The plastic on it a lot of it is protective. Like, I'm not sure if you guys can see these corners here, but there are a lot of added extra pieces of plastic just for, I think, that extra durability. So yeah, and I had the Brassmonkey, and it was all right. It had a metal exterior, but it was that thin that even when I would tie it down and something would bump into it, it would just dent straight away. So I'm kind of leaning towards thinking that, maybe a plastic exterior isn't a bad thing. And it is quite a thick plastic exterior as well. So for me, just looking at it, it looks really durable, and also when I compared the Waco straight next to the MyCoolman, the lids on the Wacos were really flimsy. I would open it up and I would move it around, and boy, there's a lot of play in it, which makes me a bit concerned because if you're going up and down bumps and that air seal and that air pocket, I'm sure it locks fine, but just one of the things I was thinking about, if that seal isn't on really well and the air is constantly being moved up and down out of the, and the pressure isn't consistent within the fridge, you're going to be losing some cold air out of there as well. So that was something that I was thinking about. When I was comparing the units, I was still open when I went and had a look. I went to Anaconda and they had the whole range of Wacos and Oz Trails, more of a budget brand for the people in other places. And, and of course I had the MyCoolman. So I had a look at them, had a really good look. I shook them around and kind of, roughed them up a little bit and, shook them around a little bit. I went early in the morning, so no one was watching. And, but, they looked like that, although the Waco was still it still looked like a great fridge, don't get me wrong. And the walls and the insulation looked just as thick as the MyCoolman. But just looking at the lids, I think the MyCoolman will seal better. And I've been talking to a few people and just listening to a few people on the forums and on YouTube as well. And, the seals on the MyCoolman is something that is talked about quite a lot. So for me, that's another consideration why I went over some of the other brands. If you start looking as well at some of the other brands, you're starting to creep up in price. Now, I was quite shocked because I was expecting to spend more on a fridge than what I spent here. Full transparency, I spent $1,100 on this fridge. Now, it's a 55 litre fridge, and it's a dual zone. And it's got a fridge section or whatever. You can make them whatever you want, fridges, freezers, whatever. And you can even turn sections off as well, which is pretty cool. That's something that I'll probably use just on my weekend trips. I might even just activate the really, really small section of the fridge and just use that as a fridge, which would normally be the freezer on a big trip. So yeah, just activate that little section, and that way I'm not having to cool a huge big compartment. So yeah, I've gone off track a little bit there, but it does have a lot of flexibility. So that was one of the things that I was looking for, was the flexibility of it. Can I have a freezer and a fridge running at the same time? Can I have a big freezer and a small fridge? Can I turn off one section? I'm just going on a little day trip or whatever. Just put on the little small section. That way I'm not drawing more from the battery. So it gives me a lot more options, a lot more flexibility. So that was one of the things that I was thinking of as well. Now, I want you guys, if you're considering buying this fridge, now, in my opinion, with the drawer system that I have here, and I've got a little interior shelf here, so it does take up room. So you could probably quite easily fit a 75 litre fridge in the back here if you didn't have the same accessories as me. Looking at the accessories that I have, this was the perfect fridge. And I don't need anything bigger, 55 litres in total. I'll put up on the screen exactly what the compartments are in terms of their individual sizes. But I just think that this is the perfect size fridge. And it's not too heavy as well, so it's not going to be dragging the car down. Something around 28 kilos. Again, I'll put it up on the screen exactly how much it is. And yeah, I just thought that, guys, I looked at it and it's a great size fridge. It pretty much fits the cheap slides, because I was going to spend upwards of $300 on a pair of heavy-duty slides, and that wasn't like $300, and that wasn't even delivered. So I don't know how much that would end up costing me. But I got two slides here, one for this side, one for the other side. I got them for $340 together. Now that's really, really good. And when I had a look I bought the first one just to test it out. And then when I saw how good it was, I quickly ran out and bought another one. So that's the XTM slides, much better than the slides on top of their drawer system, that's for sure. That ended up breaking after one trip, and I had to fix it up. And I ended up selling that because I changed my setup. But yeah, now I've got two slides. You're probably wondering, Mark, why do you have two slides? Well, one of them is for the left side, also right side if you're looking at it, left side of me at the moment, and that's going to be for a pantry. So I'm looking at some different options for pantries. I'm hoping to get maybe the Clearview pantry. That looks like it's going to be the best setup for my car and my system that I've got going at the moment. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. I was looking at the slides and I thought, can I get this fridge to fit on the slides? The answer was no, and I knew that, but I just raised it up just by 24 mil using two pieces of 12 mil ply and put some non-slip mat on there, and it fits perfectly now. So I ended up, again, because I bought a fridge that wasn't too big, the point is that I'm still saving money, because then I don't have to buy a more expensive fridge slide. I don't have to get a drop-down slide because it's not too tall. I can see into it. So these are some of the things that, not everyone will think about, maybe, but for people on a budget or people that would rather spend that money on other things like fuel, accommodation, traveling, that might be something that interests you. Try to think about the accessories that go along with what you're doing and how much extra is it going to cost you to put this in there. I was probably just going to keep the Brassmonkey fridge just because, I can save that money. But, I think this is a thing I had to change before going on my high country trip. So that when I was looking at all the different brands, one of the main things was that I couldn't find a 55 litre dual zone that had still like the apps and functionality and stuff from the big brands. This was the only one that I could find that was 55 litres, was a dual zone, was from a big brand, was well made. So I'm sure that Brassmonkey or one of the other companies, has one, but I wanted to try out what the other end was like. And now this isn't the very, very high end. In my opinion, I'd probably consider maybe like an Angle or one of those types of brands, probably, again, a few $100s more expensive. So for me, this is kind of like a middle of the road sort of an expense. So yeah, for me, that was one of the main things that I was looking at when I bought this was, what's the smallest dual zone that I can get that gives me the most flexibility? Because if you're having to spend money on a 75 litre fridge, freezer, combo, whatever, and dual zone, well, that's going to cost you a lot more money because it's more materials, whatever. So that was something that I was thinking about. So that pretty much alone ended up narrowing down my search to the MyCoolman. And that's pretty much, and then after that I started doing more research in the MyCoolman, and the more I found out about how it was made and stuff was probably, was where the reason why I ended up going towards the MyCoolman section. So for me at the moment, I'm really happy with so I haven't even turned the thing on yet because I only just got it, I got it a few days ago, but I only just got it in yesterday, and I'm just doing up a wiring harness for it now and fusing it and stuff, which, it's, I'm just taking my time, making sure it's done right, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, one of the main reasons, guys, was, I've kind of ranted a little bit in this video, but one of the main reasons why I decided to move away from the Brassmonkey setup was because, we're not talking about a huge amount of difference in price. So if you start looking at the Brassmonkey fridges, and I'll put up a little price comparison on there, and I'm sure something similar will probably be from Brassmonkey, probably around the $500 to $600 mark. And then when you consider that, if you can get it on a sale, or when I bought this from Anaconda, they had a $100 gift card, a little special. So I bought the fridge for $1,100, got a $100 gift card. I could sell the $100 gift card if I want, but I'm just saying it cost me $1,000 now. So, for an extra $300-400 to get a fridge like this, it will probably last you twice as long, what I'm hoping anyway. So yeah, for me, I'm just thinking that it makes financial sense, and it also just makes sense in general because it's from one of the new big companies, and I'm hoping that over a long period of time it can prove just as reliable as some of the other companies like Waco. Now, for those of you that have been following the channel for a while, you probably know that I will be doing follow-up videos on this. I did that with the Brassmonkey fridges. Fridge that I bought, and I had the just kind of my initial thoughts and unboxing, and then I went ahead and did a couple of mid and then long-term reviews on it, and then my final thoughts. Now I'm going to be doing the same thing with the MyCoolman. That's one thing that kind of worries me a little bit, is I started looking for reviews on this fridge, and there's not many. And for a market that's so big, there's so many, so much money in it, in this full drive accessory market. And for no one to be making reviews on it is a bit concerning. So, there's a few reviews out there, but there's really exactly that, only a few, that I could find. So hopefully this kind of is the start, or this is going to be the start of the series of videos on the MyCoolman fridge. And I have a good point of comparison to compare against. So the Brassmonkey fridge will be, I guess, my gold standard at the moment. But, a lot of people just go straight to the expensive stuff, and I'm glad that I was able to experience the cheap budget stuff. I did a budget truck build as well, and that's the reason why everything I had was budget. Now I'm upgrading. So I hope that maybe other people are following, my journey, and are kind of like, I had some of the cheaper stuff too. Now it's time to upgrade a little bit. Is this a good option? And I'm going to let you know. It's my honest thoughts. It's my money. I'm spending my money on this stuff. And the more subscribers I get, the better it is for me, because, if I can start making some money out of this YouTube stuff, then, I'll be able to put it straight back into the products, and, I can even just buy products if I want to that you guys are interested in and just review them. That's something that I've been thinking a little bit about as well. So, if you haven't subscribed already, do that, the more subscribers I get, the more chance I have to review stuff, and you know, and hopefully will help you guys out a little bit too. So I apologize for sweating up a storm out here, but you know, it's just how it is this time of the year. And I appreciate it. If you guys stuck around this long to hear me ranting about a fridge for this long, thank you. But you know, it's and also leave a like as well. That also helps just other people see the video. But for me, you know, just looking at the fridge, it's a really well built fridge. Kind of in summary, from just taking it out of the box and having a good look inside, and you know, it looks like a really nice fridge. I'm really excited to use it. It's got a lot more functions than my Brassmonkey did, so I'm still reading the manual, trying to figure it out a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to be giving this a really good test. I've got a camping trip coming up very, very shortly, actually, in the next few days. So, you know, I'll just tack that onto the videos that I'm doing. And, you know, and I'm just going to give it a really good test. Test out the setup I've got now and just do lots of little tests until I do my big Victoria High Country trip, which, you know, I've been planning for the best part of like 2 years now. And it's just unfortunate with the way the timings have gone with getting down there. So I'm hoping that in the next 8 weeks or so, next 2 months, I'll be able to get down there and finally see the high country. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I love that when you guys are commenting, and you know, we're doing the toing and froing, making friends in the comment section. That's what it's all about, you know. So yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I will be starting a Patreon soon. I've got it all set up. I just haven't had the guts to actually put it out there yet, and had the confidence to be like, oh, you know, this is how much the memberships are and whatever. So I've got it all set up, ready to go. But you know, if you made it this far and you you know, you have an opinion on it, make sure you tell me in the comment section. But you know, I'd just make it the cheapest option possible, like $5 or something a month, and just do a couple of extra little videos on there and a podcast or something. So if that's something you think, you know, that might be of interest to you, and I should do it, let me know. I'm a little bit nervous about doing it. I don't like asking people for money and stuff. So, but you know, if I think about it like it's the money that I'm going to put back in the channel for you guys anyway, it, you know, doesn't make me feel too bad. So that's kind of what I'm thinking anyway. But yeah, that's just me rambling at the end of the video. But you know, if you guys like the video, do what you have to do. Share it with your mates as well, and on all the forum sites as well. And I'll see you guys very shortly in the next videos. Heaps of videos coming out every week. So, alrighty, guys, take care.